Hi everyone, time for an update. It's late Wednesday evening, early Thursday morning. I'm about to go off to bed and didn't do a video yesterday, so just going to run over the last 2 days quickly. Dollar yen is a little bit rangy at the moment. It's kind of chopping above and below the moving average. As I've said in previous videos, there's nothing really you can do about that. You just have to stay focused, keep taking the valid trades and manage them based on your system of managing trades. Pretty difficult to do because even with the expectation that we're going to have a lower win rate, it's not something that's easy to live with in real time. It's easy enough in back testing, but when you're trading live, gets really testing. And as someone posted on one of my public threads today, that's likely why there's an edge in it, because it's very difficult for us to maintain it. Any very small percentage of people can do it, or do it, should I say, and that is what makes the edge for the few. So I'm just going to jump back to Wednesday, and you can see we're a bit undecided with the moving average. These trades are always a little bit tricky. I tend to try and I try to avoid that kind of looking for precision and perfection, and I try and replicate in the live environment how I would have approached it in the testing environment, in the back testing environment. And it's quite tricky to do because the emotions are slightly different. So it's almost like a bit of personal management that you need to do in these scenarios. And you can see here we cut above the moving average, and we're making this pattern of higher highs, higher lows. And really, if we'd have had a setup here, then it's a valid long. But really, at the close of this bar, once we've closed back under the 200 period moving average, I just kind of write this one off and consider for now that one's done. Okay, and you can see then we had a pullback with a lower swing high here, and here's your other swing high here. So that was a valid short, so I went with the short. Okay, then price reversed strongly and stopped that trade out, and then we had another pullback here, and then a breakout entry here. So this was a perfectly valid trade here. Okay, but I decided, because it was such a wide stop, I decided to wait and see if it gave another push and pull back. Okay, which it did, and I took that trade there. So both of these are valid trades. Okay, the first one with the wide stop and this second little swing point here, they're both completely valid in the same way. And you could have traded both of them. You could have taken just the first, or you could have done what I did, take the second. There's not really a right and wrong answer for that, but I tend, if there is a very big one, I'll often leave it and wait and see if it continues on. Okay, it's not the right way to do it. It's the approach that I'm comfortable with. Okay, and it's difficult because when this is happening, all your mind is doing is trying to evaluate in the moment what is the right decision. But through experience and by collecting a lot of data, you realise there isn't really a right decision, not just based on these two trades. Over a larger sample, you'll realise that it doesn't really make a lot of difference. It will generally be a bit of good luck and bad luck that plays out, but over the long run, it's not going to make you it's unlikely to make you change you from a profitable strategy to a losing strategy. That's unlikely. As it was, my option of trade stopped out, okay, whereas if I'd have taken the first trade, well, that would still be alive now and around about plus 1R, okay, but it's still got a long way to go before it even gets to break even. There's no guarantee that that's going to be a winner either, whereas this much smaller entry trade would have been easier for that to get to a 4 or 5R than this much wider one. Just basic math. This one will need a move probably 3 times the size that one would have. So anyway, that trade stopped out in the morning. We were retracing but above the moving average, and then we got this push up, pull back, and then a breakout entry there. So I've taken that trade. That raced quickly to 3R, and I've moved it to break even. Now obviously I'm looking to trail my stop up, but I'm looking for price to start making that higher high, higher low, and really I kind of want to see price push up here again, and this would be the obvious place to trail my stop. Now again, in this scenario, it's going to be very tempting to say, well look, you get quite a few of these that go over 2R, shouldn't you have just trailed here and trailed here? In essence, a much tighter trailing stop from the off. And again, there's no right or wrong answer there. That's a perfectly valid way of doing it. And you're going to have a higher win rate with that tighter trailing stop, but you're going to have a lower average win too, and both can work in the long run. This really tight trailing stop, it's going to be really unusual to get anything more than say 4R. I'm not saying you never will, but your average is going to be probably around 2R, whereas the wider trailing stop that I'm doing, the average is probably going to be 3 to 4R, okay, with a slightly lower win rate. And when you're in these scenarios, your brain is trying to, what your brain's trying to do is urge you to pick the best decision in the moment. And really you need much more data than the data your brain's dealing with at the moment, in that moment, to make a rational decision. So that's why you have trading plans, and those trading plans are based on larger samples of data, because what looks like the best option in the moment isn't necessarily the best option, or any better option than what you've planned in the long run. So that's where we are. I'm at break even with this trade. It'd be great to get a second winner this week and post a positive week, but like I've said before, this is fairly low win rate, and you can have consecutive or multiple weeks where you're not making any profit. I hope that all makes sense. Leave me any comments below or any questions you might have, and I will probably do an update tomorrow evening.